You may have heard some people say that the purpose of life is to remember who you are, to learn how to be. But the reality is, most people have no idea who they are and who they're supposed to be. Because in our earthly realm, most people are experiencing only their self that is associated with the human identity, with their physicality, with everything that they've been conditioned to feel and to be, not really realizing that their truth is not necessarily identified within their human self. There is a whole other reality that exists outside of the self, outside of the human physicality, which is more closely tied to our soul and to the higher self, which is a whole new dimension of our being. To experience the higher self's reality is to understand that there is quite literally a version of you that exists in a higher dimensional place. To understand that you are not who you physically believe you are. You are not your name, your physical identity, your background, your occupations, your belongings, your preferences, interests, and appearance. You are actually an essence that exists outside of time and space. You have a unique vibrational signature which is related to your soul, and it's closely tied to what you may feel as the inner experience of truth, which you can experience through your heart's consciousness. But most people never even venture into that unfamiliar territory, because to associate with the higher self means to disrupt the reality of the lower self. It's to understand that you have to be in coherence with your soul in order to experience the coherence of being. In order to feel truly authentic and in line with your higher self, you need to decide that your lower self is to be as one with it. You must understand that any dissimilarities between your lower identity and your higher identity leads to the manifestation of all your problems in this physical incarnation. And the closer you can get to embodying your higher self's potential, the happier, healthier, and more successful you will be in this earthly realm. But how can we do that? How can we get closer to the higher self when many of us have no idea how to listen to it and how to associate with it? Well, the reality is that in order to connect to your higher self, you need to understand what makes you, separate from all the conditions in this physical world. You need to start understanding why you're doing the things that you are doing, why you feel the way you feel, and why the problems in your life continue to manifest. Because the true root cause of every single one of them is begging you to come closer to your higher self's reality and to understand what is actually authentic to you and what is the real purpose of your experience. I want you to think about every problem, difficulty, and even health condition in your life as an expression of the discontinuity between your higher self's reality and your lower self's identity. It is a disruption in your consciousness that prevents you from seeing how to mend the disconnect, which leads to all of the suffering in your physical life. In order to heal and to transcend the physical difficulties, you must realize what is internally blocking you from becoming your higher self, from connecting more deeply to your soul, aka your true nature, to experience the coherence between what your higher self is dictating and what your lower self is expressing in the physical world. To harmonize with the higher self is akin to healing, listening to your intuition, deciding to be balanced in your masculine and feminine energies, learning to channel, learning to feel and to recognize the reality of your inner child, which is also closely linked to your higher self. So let's start from the beginning of our experience. When you were born into this world, you were a clean slate, but you already were closely tied to your soul. You came into this world not remembering who you are necessarily, but being very closely tied to the divine because that spark was still alive within you. The inner child within you is the embodiment of all of this divinity that you came into this world with. It's the vulnerability, it's the passion, it's the curiosity, it's the open-mindedness, it's the connection to all things, and this curious connection to yourself and to the reality at large around you, which allows you to be enmeshed in the wholeness of everything. As you grew, you were conditioned to develop an identity which separated you from this core truth. Different things accumulated in your experience to make you feel like it's threatening to be your true self, to be this vulnerable inner child which is a sponge to experience, because being that open puts you at risk for pain. And when you experienced pain for the first time in your life, a part of you decided to shield your inner child, this truthful aspect of you, because you may have felt that expressing your truth and the wholesome nature of your identity puts you at risk for more pain. This is how every coping mechanism and every egoic barrier forms in our reality. Every reason that we have to fear exposing our true self becomes an inhibitor to our authenticity. Everything that comes up that makes us feel like we're at risk for being ourselves makes us put up more walls, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And the more that people put up these walls and these constraints against connecting with their higher self and their inner child, the more people feel like they can't even connect with their own selves, leading people to feel dissociated from their sense of self completely. So unfortunately, in today's world, many people walk around flaunting masks, personas, putting up facades to express who they want to be without actually being in touch with their true self. This is why people end up doing things that are not even true to themselves, saying things that don't line up with their feelings, and living out a false reality which doesn't lead to true contentment, because that disconnect is always going to lead to struggle in life. That being said, we can completely redefine happiness as an experience that is all about alignment with the higher self's reality. Only by coming into this integrity with your own soul can you align coherently within your thoughts, feelings, and actions, so that there is a connection rather than a dichotomy between the inner experience and the outward experience you live in life. Now, to add another dimension to this, if you are plagued by any health conditions, you can think of all of those things as manifestations of the disconnect to your higher self, because your morphogenetic field, this holographic blueprint that your soul is associated with, stores the information for the healthy functioning of your body. It stores the program for the running of all your organs. It stores the information that allows your cells to operate and to vibrate on the right frequency, which allows them to function optimally. Now, if you come into a disconnect with your higher self and you refuse to feel your truth, to express it outwardly, and to become the embodiment of it, you put yourself at risk for developing health conditions associated with any of these blockages in your body. And we know that our body has hundreds of chakras within it, meaning every single ailment is associated with an energy point. The main chakras are the 7, which can allow us to organize energy based on frequency, based on meaning. To see how this is relevant in our lives, think about any health condition that you have and the chakra or the energy center that's associated with it. For example, if you're prone to heart problems, think about your heart chakra and its functioning. Think about the consciousness of this organ as needing to express a vital truth about your ability to love and to connect to your reality. If heart issues run in your family, think about the underlying precursors, emotionally and energetically speaking, that might have been predisposing everyone in your family to those heart issues. The energetic root cause of every health issue allows for its resolution. So the sooner that you start thinking about why issues manifest, the sooner you will understand how to heal them by naturally mending this discontinuity in your consciousness. If you refuse to connect to what your higher self is dictating, which is synonymous with what you feel deep down, with what your intuition is suggesting for you to be doing, and what you want to be feeling but might not necessarily mentally want to align with, then you're going to manifest these health conditions. Because the physical body, this vital body layer, is just a manifestation of what the upper levels of consciousness are allowing us to feel. So if you don't translate the meaning of your higher self into physical form, your physical body is going to suffer. And you're not going to suffer if you allow yourself to express this vital truth of your soul, allowing yourself to come into full coherence with those higher layers of meaning. To heal any health condition, think about the psychosomatic cause and why you energetically are not enabling yourself to be in alignment with that particular organ and aspect of your consciousness. If you don't feel connected to your heart, ask yourself, why can't I feel that deeply? Where is there a disturbance in my ability to see my heart, to allow myself to feel, and to allow myself to understand how my heart has an important place in my life? Only when you can find the importance of every aspect of your energetic being can you come into this state of alignment. So this is really a warning for anyone who chooses to suppress their emotions, to deny their truth, and to not live a wholesome experience. Because if there is this disconnect between what you're feeling and what you're doing, your health is going to struggle. You're bound to experience the consequences on a physical level because you quite literally can't lie to yourself. You know that feeling when you say something, but you're not actually feeling what you're saying, or you're not demonstrating your truth, but you're actually feeling it? There's this terrible feeling of you actually lying to yourself. You're not allowing yourself to be the same person externally that you are internally. You are barricading your inner child from your external persona. And doing so leads to this feeling of compressed energy which builds up and accumulates in internal struggle which then manifests the health ailments. Many women who project a lot of masculine energy are going to develop issues surrounding their feminine reproductive organs because this built up anger, aggression, hostility towards the self and others is usually a projection of you not understanding how to meet the needs of the inner child and coming into a space of acceptance so that you can communicate your feelings and allow that energy to flow. Any built-up energy needs an outlet, and if you don't provide it, you're going to manifest those health concerns that help you see what you need to do to come into alignment. The beautiful thing about achieving this understanding is that doing so allows you to truly feel in touch with all aspects of your being. It allows you to feel that nothing is random in your experience and everything is just an emanation of consciousness, meaning that when you come to love every aspect of you, and you energetically learn to understand the meaning of all things in existence, you can come into this space of harmony and alignment. Because ultimately, what the higher self wants you to do as a lower projection of it is to just elevate and to start vibrating at that frequency. To stop denying the presence of everything that comes up naturally to you and to start harmonizing with it. To stop creating resistance within yourself, which allows you to flow against the current of your intuition and your deep inner knowing, and to actually start accepting it and integrating its wisdom into your life. Doing so can threaten your sense of self and completely change the trajectory of your life. Choosing to challenge your lower identity means you might have to depart from certain things and habits and inner dialogues that actually prevent you from truly seeing the divinity in you. But doing so also is the shortcut to achieving true happiness and fulfillment. Some people choose to mask their lower identity to appear to be more in touch with the truth and with the divine knowing by choosing to don a spiritual ego, a mask that makes them think that they are awakened and enlightened, but not truly integrated. And the way that we know this is if people who appear to be awakened or appear to be enlightened are still living out this struggle between their lower self and their higher identity, there is not truth in that situation. Because awakening in spirituality is actually about finding this integration. There has to be a union and convergence of the outwards truth and the higher truth that our souls is recognizing and what we're internally playing out in the third dimensional realm. There has to be no separation between the self and others, between the heart and the mind, between the soul and the lower identity, between our health and our outwards expression of self. There must be full alignment and coherence in order for us to feel like we're truly in touch with the sacredness of our souls. And once we can achieve that point of understanding, we can truly surrender to the knowingness that we are being true to ourselves. And I think there is nothing more holy than this experience of being completely authentic in yourself, of understanding that you have the power to be a match to your soul, which means that you can connect to the divine in this sacred way. You can decide to hold space within yourself for the unmatched truth of your own experience, and you can allow yourself to truly be the embodiment of who you are, which means allowing yourself to thrive rather than survive, to live out meaningful experiences rather than just cope with what your past has created for you. Doing so means you can spread your wings and allow yourself to be free, to be loved, to love, and to give unconditionally to the world and to your entire experience. Because in this way, you'll be giving and loving unconditionally to yourself. Nothing is ever against you. Not the universe, not God, not other people, not the world. You can melt down all personal and external injustices by choosing to do yourself justice and choosing to maintain this reality of truth within you. If you can do that, you can start to feel like there is peace awaiting you on the other side of your fears. And as soon as you dissolve the ramifications that your own ego has put up to prevent you from contacting your soul, you can experience the real meaning of life.